And welcome back, everyone. Welcome everyone to another week, another edition of ESL Open Cup number 179 Americas. I'm of course your host ZvP, and today I'm going to be joined by these lovely players in the chat. Going to be joined by the chat and these lovely players. Let's go, puppy, because we finally have our first series of the day spawning. In the top right hand corner of altitude, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing CranKy Gaming. It is Dark. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Polish Protoss player, the blue Protoss representing Storm Gaming. It is Gerald. And I did notice some people asking about the late start to the stream, and that is correct. This tournament did start an hour ago, actually an hour and 25 minutes ago. We were here 20 minutes ago, and it took a while for a game to get going, but we are finally here in a fresh series. And that was intentional as well. It was, yeah. I think I'm going to be oh, un momento. There we go. I think I'm going to be making a change to the ESL Americas broadcast for here on the CranKy Ducklings. The ESL Americas broadcasts are very long. They wouldn't be the longest weekly that we do. I think Kung Fu Cup is the longest weekly, but typically ESL Americas go for a long time, and they start really early as well here in Australia. So I think moving forward, we may just start an hour later than normal. We're trying to reorganize a couple of things here. We're trying to make things a little bit more sustainable, and by that I mean that I won't be casting at god awful hours. Yeah, that works. God awful hours, and actually, you know, get some decent sleep as well. For those wondering, 8 hours ago we were live with World Team League, and I would have had to have gotten like 5 hours sleep if I wanted to cast this on time. So I wanted to get a decent amount of sleep in my, in my system first, before really committing to another stream. And I think that's what we're going to be doing moving forward here. If we ever cast late, that's the thing. Like, World Team League is usually over the weekend, but it was late last night. It was moved to Tuesdays and Wednesdays this week specifically. I think because of ESL Masters DreamHack Young shipping. So because of that, I wanted to make sure I got at least a couple more hours sleep and make sure I was all rested. I had a shower. Did I have breakfast? Nope. But you know what? That's at least a shower. We're getting there. We're getting there. And hey, at least we're here in time for a banger of a series as well. We have a PvZ before us. Dark already doing a bit of damage here with his first couple of lings. One probe is going to be going down, and we do have another wave of lings coming up behind this as well. We get a full scout of Dark does confirm the Stargate opener into an Oracle, so Gerald is going for a standard opener here in this PvZ. As to be expected, Gerald isn't really known for his cheese. He can whip out an all-in from time to time, but for the most part, he is a pretty standard player. And here we go. The Lings are going to be able to deny this. Well, we have more Lings flooding across the map as well. The Adept is mere seconds away from coming up, but no, it is not going to come out in time. The Lings do flood on through. At least some of them do. Not quite the others. Probes are falling left and right. The Oracle is forced to activate its beams. Well, the Adept will survive, but two more probes did go down. Meanwhile, I assumed across the map maybe the Adept had been caught. It looks like it maybe had been, but does get recalled and saved in the end. Whew. And yeah, things got really chaotic for a moment, but Gerald has held. Looking at the Unisol tab here, 3 probes in total for 8 lings. Not a bad trade, especially because the Oracle was forced to activate its beam as well. I do think that Dark did come out ahead in that trade. Now he's going to be active with his lings, is going to be moving out across the map, looking to perhaps delay this third base. Meanwhile, the Oracles are now moving out. An interesting choice here from Gerald. He goes for a double Oracle opener into a Phoenix follow-up, which is going to get scouted here by Dark. He's going to be sending his Overlords back promptly, I assume, as the Lings do chip away at this third base. And Gerald, he did back off for a moment there. He's going to be catching some of these reinforcing drones, and one drone does go down. Pretty good damage done already here by Gerald. He does dance between the bases, is looking for some more damage. Of course, with 2 oracles, you can one-shot drones, and 4 drones have gone down in total. An amazing amount of damage done across the map. Lings try to trade, and they get 1 adept, but only 1 adept in the end. So yeah, you know, Gerald doing some great counter damage, able to equalize those losses. And behind this, Gerald, after producing this Phoenix and clearing out these Overlords, is going to be going for double Forge. So this is really greedy stuff here. He's going to be going for a 1-1 timing to actually have enough for 2 Forges. We're delaying the Twilight Council. There's no Twilight Council, there's no Robo. They should be thrown down soon. But again, we are prioritizing upgrades more than anything. So it is going to be a later Blink timing, but it is going to be a faster 1-1 here in favor of that. So Gerald is going to be sitting back a little bit longer, waiting for his upgrades to kick in. But once they do, boy oh boy, will they kick in. The oracles are going across the map, and the other important thing about this is that this Phoenix is gonna, or the Phoenix of Geralt is gonna be keeping this build hidden, and it's also gonna be keeping the fact that Geralt is vulnerable hidden as well. For all Dark nodes, it's gonna be a Glaive Adept follow-up. We do have that Roach Warren on the way. We got plus on melee, Lair as well. Again, Dark is in the dark right now, and he's gonna have to try to piece this all together. We do have the gateway wall being set up here on the right hand side. Twilight Council is done. We're going straight into our Temple Archives. Again, Gerald is just being so greedy. He's delaying Blink even further after the Twilight Council is done to throw down even more tech as well. Blink is finally on the way, but again, Gerald, he is kind of thinking further ahead, and I really appreciate this. When you're up against a player that's stronger than you, there's a couple of different ways to go about it. You can cheese them, obviously. You can be hyper aggressive and hope to catch your opponent off guard, or you can do the other thing, which is just cut corners and be just hyper greedy. We see the 4th base being taken here. Like, Geralt is not being active at all. He's not pushing out on the map. He's giving Dark so much freedom. The 4th base was just was not scouted, unfortunately, but regardless, Dark, he knows how, he's aware how passive Geralt is being, and he's just droning. He's droning, not just droning. He's getting Evo Chambers, he's getting Infestation Pit as well in the main base. He's taking up into Hive. Dark is doing, he's double expanding as well as we speak. He's doing the correct thing. Dark recognizes how defensive his opponent is being, and he has to get ahead and take advantage of that. Take advantage of the passivity of the Protoss and be as greedy as possible. It's either that or you go for an all-in, but Dark wasn't really set up for an all-in to try and like punish the greed of his opponent. Meanwhile, talk about teching up, Fleet Beacon is thrown down here for Geralt as well. Can he survive long enough to get into Skytoss? If he can, that is going to be Geralt's win condition. His goal here is to turtle up on 4 bases. We have a wall here on the right-hand side, covering the 3rd base. We're going to be working on a wall here in the center as well, and we can also work on a wall over at the 4th base. So we just have SimCity here, I should say. So, yeah, Geralt is doing what Protoss do best, and that is turtle. Just turtle up as best as you can. We do have a little bit of harasser going on across the map. The Roaches, they're looking to maybe catch one of these High Templar, but they are going to be cleaned up here. And this is a good trade for Geralt, sorry, for Dark overall. In a way, like, he wants to get rid of these Roaches. Roaches, they aren't the most useful unit for the time being, as we have that Hive on the way. Dark has droned to 84, a really respectable drone count, and now he can focus on his army. And it looks like he is focusing on the Ling Bane Roach Ravager army composition, actually. So, yeah, he's going to be looking to hit hard and hit fast. Problem is, there's stasis traps, more stasis traps, there's High Templar, there's Storm. We're getting into a mothership first even. I love this from Geralt. Again, a very good supportive defensive unit here to try and survive into a longer game. Lings and Ravagers have arrived, and we do have that Storm. There we go. Storm is going to take down a lot of those Lings, but the wall is soon about to go down. Oof. 3 gateways full. The wall is wide open, and Dark is going to rotate around. He's going to threaten maybe one of the other bases. We do have a Ling counterattack clearing up this Zeldaga tower. Yeah, these gateways are not going to be able to finish at all. We are spending quite a number of storms here, but again, nice storms on those Lings. Another Ling counterattack here on the left-hand side is going to turn into a Baneling counterattack. And it looks like Dark won't be able to break this. There's just a little bit too much. There's an overcharge. Bailing's going to be rolling on in there at the same time. And we'll see if Dark can get into the mineral line. Oh, the reaction. Ooh, a bit of a late reaction. A probes are going to be falling here at the right-hand base. Over at the fourth as well. Looks like the Bailings will not quite make it through. But Dark is getting on top of the army. And Gerald has not been able to get into that sky toss. He has been desperately trying to. But he has lost his third base. 20 probes do go down. We have more Lings just racing towards that fourth base as well. The Bailings do break out of their stasis and they're headed for the middle line. No! There's nowhere to go. Oh my god, the probes turn back around. The mothership shows up a couple of seconds too late. 31 probes have fallen. That was such on a knife's edge here. Dark was able to break Gerald before he got into sky toss. These two carriers are about to come out. By the time they do, there's nothing left. The fourth is gone, the third as well. It is all on fire. It is all just breaking down here, and it was just a really well executed push from Dark. It was slow and steady to begin with. You know, he was chipping away at the gateways, he was triggering some stasis traps, and then suddenly, bam, Bailing showed up, and things very quickly snowballed out of control. Back at home, Dark is taking his gases, he's getting his bases. Spire is on the way, +2, +3 attack as well, adrenal glands, everything that you could ever want. Geralt is on his last legs, really. He's trying to resaturate his fourth base. It's now his third at this point. He's trying to get things back up and running. He's got a mothership, he's got 2 carriers, but what else does he really have to his name? Oof. It was really a good effort though. Like, I really appreciate the overall plan here from Geralt, and he almost got away with it. He was almost able to pull it off. Unfortunately, maybe cutting a couple too many corners here against Dark. Just wasn't able to have enough units. Barely not enough splash damage as well. If he had a couple more storms, then I'm sure the Bailings wouldn't have gone into the mineral lines as well. Was on a knife's edge, and now Dark is remaxed with Ling, Bane, Roach, Ravager. He has detection available, and he's just gonna be rolling on in. Can he shoot up? Not really, but he doesn't really care either, as the Biles are going to be connecting with the carriers. The Bailings get into the mineral line once again. We have plenty of detection available. The Stalkers fall, and even though we can't kill these carriers, doesn't matter. We still trade well anyway, as Dark has a booming economy, and all he has to do is just, you know, keep hitting this third base and keep resetting the drone count, resetting the probe count even. That's all he needs to do. Geralt is going to be moving out here with his mothership, with his carriers. He's got 4 carriers, which is a pretty dangerous amount of carriers. But as Dark went for that trade, he remaxes on Corruptors. He is now ready to tango here with these carriers. Looks like his fringe bases are a little bit exposed, but we have plenty of anti-air available. We're diving on in. Biles will be connecting with the carriers, and the Corruptors, they're going to be able to clean it up. GG. Dark will take game number 1. I see Rabags in the chat. Oh, there's nothing left to carry. Oh, smooch. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. I mean, to be fair, it's one of those things where, given a couple more seconds, like a minute or so, then Geralt would have been able to get into Skytoss and we would have seen a different game. Would have seen a very different game. Oh. But alas, was not meant to be, and now we're going to be getting into game number 2, taking place on Neo Humanity. See, Kaido in the chat. Max playing today. I believe he is not. Yeah, Max is suspiciously absent from today's tournament. He is usually very active in the ESL Open Cups, specifically the Americas variant. So whatever reason, maybe something is up, maybe something is wrong. I do definitely apologize on behalf of MaxPax for him not being here today. But yeah, it's a shame. It is a shame that MaxPax is not here. Hopefully everything's okay. Maybe he's just taking a break. Maybe he's sleeping. It's a bad time in Europe right now. It's not good. It's I think it's about to be 3 a.m. It's about to be 3 a.m. in Europe, and maybe MaxPax doesn't want to be a DGen. Maybe he's working on fixing his sleep schedule, or maybe he was up for 24 hours. I don't know. But yeah, he's going to be absent from today's tournament. Instead, looking at the brackets, I believe Gerald is the last remaining European. He is the last European player in the entire tournament. Oh, as I should. There we go. I should fix that. Beautiful. Meanwhile, it looks like Duck is asking for a little bit of a break, so he's kind of giving us a moment here to go over the bracket ourselves. Because again, we did start the broadcast a little bit later, an hour into the tournament, so we missed out on some games, and looks like we can catch up on everything that's been going on. Okay, so Beyond 2-0 Lunacy, shout out to Lunacy, one of my favorite Protoss players out there. Beyond does take him down 2-0, and he advances on throughout the tournament into the quarterfinals, where he is currently in a TVT against Vindicta. I think they're being casted by Dave Testa. I know there are some other English streams going on, and I believe Beyond versus Vindicta is being casted by another streamer, another caster. So if you want to shoot into that TVT, they got you covered there. Meanwhile, scrolling down a little bit further, we had a lot of big names knock each other out. We had DRG taking down Rebellion 2-0, Gumiho taking down Epic 2-0, and then Gumiho eliminated Dongregu 2-0 as well. Gumiho is our first semi-finalist, waiting for a TVT, waiting for either Bjorn or Vindicta to face off against him. So my condolences to Rebellion, Epic, and Dongregu. They're all amazing players, but alas, there can only be one. I'm very impressed that Gumiho 2-0 DRG as well. Very solid result there out of the Tal Terrans. So impressive stuff, impressive stuff. As we scroll down a little bit further, we do have currently a PvP going on. Actually, I think that's being casted by Chicken Man. I know Dave Testa and Chicken Man, they're out there casting some stuff. I think they're casting the PvP. Maybe the TVT. Mirror matchups all around, and Australia versus Trigger is currently going on. The two best Protosses in North America. Australia and Trigger, they are the #1 and the #2 respectively. So they're going to be facing off in that PvP, a spicy NA PvP at that. I'm sure a lot of shenanigans are going to be ensuing, and yeah, I wouldn't mind casting that series either. We love PvP here on this channel. It's always a lot of fun watching them on each other. As I scroll down to the bottom of the bracket, no notables there. As here at the bottom of the bracket, we have a pretty interesting result. One, we're casting Gerald versus Dark, of course, but the road here was interesting to me. Gerald did drop a map to Disrespect, which is pretty impressive. Disrespect, he's, not the most known of players. He's been, he's a North American or an American Terran player, and he, I've casted plenty of Disrespect in the past. But he's more of a mid-tier player amongst the NA scene. He's not well known like Vindicta or Australia or Trigger or Scarlet, or even players like Ukko and Silky. Yeah, Disrespect, he's kind of, been in the middle of the pack for a while, and he hasn't really reached the upper echelons of the NA scene either. So for him to take a game off of Gerald is really impressive. It's really cool to see Disrespect putting a point on the board and making Gerald work for it. So yeah, a lot of respect to Disrespect, and really cool to see him performing well. Did get eliminated, but hey, he took a game off of Gerald. Gerald, the best European player in the entire tournament. So that's definitely something to write home about. So pretty exciting stuff overall. As of course we're casting Gerald versus Dark, winner into a Protoss, into either Australia or Trigger, and the winner of that will be going to the finals. So we may only have a couple of series remaining, like our quarterfinals, into the semis, into the finals, so potentially 3 series. If we have the time to, maybe we'll jump up to the upper semifinals, but for the most part we're going to be focusing our attention here in the lower portion of the bracket instead. This is kind of where our attention will lie for the time being, before we head on over to the Terrans up here, as a Terran is confirmed for the finals. Whether it's Bjorn, Vindicta, or Gumiho, yet to see, yet to see. And this is pretty exciting because this is going to be a bit of a rematch, potentially. Beyond versus Gumiho did play recently, and Gumiho did defeat Beyond. He did overcome Beyond. This was... I think this was in the KSL? God, we cast so much StarCraft. I need... It's so much, Papi. It's so much. Let me quickly double check. In the past week, we casted Beyond versus Gumiho, and I'm just gonna quickly check where that was. There it is. Oh, that was actually the finals of last week. ESL Open Cup Americas. So exactly a week ago, it was the grand finals of Gumiho versus Beyond, and Gumiho did defeat Beyond in the finals of ESL Open Cup Americas, 178. So I'm sure Beyond wants his revenge. I'm sure he wants to go toe-to-toe with Gumiho again and try and redeem himself. But we'll see if he can. We shall see. We are getting ready for our next match. Let's go, Bobby. Let's go. In the chat, it's 2:40 a.m. Yeah. It's not at a good time in the land of Europe, so I don't blame. I definitely don't blame MaxX for not being here today, just because of how late it is. But if you're out there, if you're in the land of Europe, take care of yourselves. You know, make sure you get some good rest. Don't stay up too long, unless you're like, I don't know, you're like working the night shift or something, or you know, this is like when you should be awake. That's all good. So good. Take care. As we get into this, a massive shout out to Gerald in the chat for the 100 bits. Thank you so much. Do appreciate it as always, papi. Gracias. Thank you so much for the support as we're getting into our next game, into game number 2. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Neo Humanity, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing CranKy Z Gaming, leading this series 1-0. It is Dark. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Polish Protoss player representing Storm Gaming. It is Gerald. Here we go, and yeah, so far, Dark is looking to have some fun, is forced to take the unnatural natural in a really interesting... No, never mind. The fake out. Let's go. Dark does immediately rush forward here to the center base. Gerald falls for it. He goes to the pylon block, is going to rotate back around and going to recognize... Oh, hold on. I've been bamboozled. Dark actually did take his natural. It has been taken at an appropriate location. Is going for a hatch gas pool opener overall. And yeah, some nice stuff here out of Dark. Not really losing too much mining time here. It was a little bit inefficient because obviously we had a drone not mining a little bit longer, but he's able to get the base that he wanted. That's all that matters here for Dark. Oh. Meanwhile, across the map, we have a gate expand set up here from Gerald, a gate, Nexus into Cybercore. So again, nothing too crazy from our Protoss player. And we don't really expect anything too crazy either. On altitude, we saw Gerald basically being hyper greedy, very passive, very defensive, taking up and cutting corners, rushing into Skytoss. Well, not rushing in, but working up towards Skytoss at least. Can he do the same on Neo Humanity? He can. Neo Humanity is definitely a map where you can turtle up. And we have seen players like Hero and Classic and Hero and Classic. And we've seen the Korean Protosses rush into Skytoss on Neo Humanity. Is Gerald willing to do that? I would say yes, but after game 1, I don't think so. Like, he's already kind of utilized that strategy already this series, and typically in the middle of a series, you don't want to be doing the same thing twice, especially if it doesn't work. So Geralt is going to be going for a different route entirely, and as we see, that's not a Stargate, that's a Twilight Council. Geralt is looking to be very aggressive here with the Twilight Council opener. Meanwhile, Dark may not have taken the center base as his natural, but he's definitely taking it as his third instead. So he's setting up here for an assault. He's setting up for a bit of a launch pad of creep. These rocks here on the left-hand side are soon to be taken down as well, I imagine, to take advantage of this position. And so far, I believe Gerald hasn't seen this. Oh, okay, never mind. He has. He did see the Roach Horn, sorry, the hatchery as it was thrown down. So he's aware of what's going on. Behind this, Twilight Council into a Robo. Gases haven't been pulled out. This looks like a Dark Shrine opener, and there we go. The Dark Shrine is thrown down. So a bit of a different variation. Dark dives into the main base. He sees the Twilight Council, sees that it's not researching, and he even confirms the Dark Shrine itself. So Dark sees everything. Oof. And this is dangerous. This is dangerous because Gerald, he's not going to have the surprise factor. These DTs are unlikely to do any damage, but he can morph them into Archons. And Archon drops have a lot of value. You know, they can pick off Overlords here and there. They can pick off Queens. They can pick off Workers. What's scary is that these Archons, though, they're not going to do much to stop Dark from setting up for a big push. Lings are on the way to help clean up any kind of Archons. Nexus is thrown down. I do worry here that that this opener may work against Geralt in a way, because he's going to have a delayed upgrade on his Twilight Council, and okay, he's going to be rushing into a Bay. I do like this. I do like that, hey, look, Blink or Charge is already delayed anyway. Let's avoid that for the time being. Let's just tech up into Disruptors. Disruptors are a way to defend against, say, a Roach counterattack once it gets defended. Speaking of, DTs are being forced back. They don't get any damage on the third base. They're headed towards the main. The Queens are rotating over the Lings as well. They're racing into the main base. One of these Queens is under threat, but the Lings, they do get us around. Oof. Ay. There we go. The lair is on the way. Now, with the completion of this lair, I imagine we're going to be getting into Roach speed. Before that happens, Geralt is looking to get some value here, and he's going to be able to pick off one of these Overlords, at least one. Is going to be hunting down a couple more of these as well. Dark is being forced back. Do we have any Queens in position? The Queens are going to take a little bit too long to rotate over, and a second Overlord goes down. So far, so good here for Geralt. Oh, I spoke too soon. Bit of mispathing there from Geralt as well. He does almost lose an Archon. Thankfully, he turns back around and he does keep it safe for the time being. Meanwhile, my mistake. Did I say Disruptors? I should have been saying Colossi, as we are rushing into Colossus tech, not Disruptors. Interesting choice. Colossi aren't bad, as the Archons get a couple of drone kills. Again, good value here so far by Geralt. So Colossus, they aren't bad. They help provide consistent splash damage against units, and they help so much against Lings, specifically Ling, Bane, Hydra, any kind of light unit. Not so much against Roaches. And we are going to be focusing on a Roach assault. That's what I'm most concerned about here. Disruptors are now on the way, which is nice. We won't have as many as I would have assumed. Oh, as Dark is going to be knocking down the rocks instead. Dark is getting an Evo Chamber. He's double expanding. Dark is not going to be aggressive here. He is going to be droning up and being defensive instead. Okay. Definitely an interesting choice here by Dark. That means Geralt is going to have a pretty large army. It means that Geralt is going to be allowed to rush into this Robotech and get a decent Robo count up. What I mean by that is, like, get a decent amount of Disruptors and Colossi up and running for the first big fight. So this is going to be a little bit advantageous for Geralt. I was concerned that Dark would be pushing out sooner rather than later, and Geralt would be stuck with one Colossus and one Disruptor to defend, and not much else, but alas, that's not going to be the case here. So, yeah, we do have Dark going for a bit of a different approach. He's rushing into a Hive. We've got a Bailey Nest on the way, 1-1 as well. We haven't been able to see too much here when it comes to the main army. Dark has been more concerned with defending back at home. And with that infestation bit, he's actually going into infestors. I assumed that he was going to be rushing into Vipers, but Infestors are going to be an interesting one. This will be an interesting choice here. As we do have Gerald dipping in with his Archons and then dipping on out of there. Just getting whatever value he can. And yeah, Dark is pretty content with just spreading creep, just droning on up. You know, he's just buying time. And we have that Spire on the way as well. So Dark is a little bit paranoid, especially because he has very limited scanning information. Like, he hasn't gone into the main in a long time. Dark is getting ready for potentially Sky Toss, just in case his opponent was turtling up once again and going up to carriers and motherships, and a mothership. Dark will be ready for that. He will have access to some anti-air and to some, you know, decent anti-Sky Toss army. Until then, Vipers are coming out. Dark is now currently maxed out, and at this point he should soon be looking to trade. Gerald has been slowly taking his third and taking his fourth base, fully saturating them at that. And now it's time to take stock at what's been going on here. What kind of army do we have to work with? We have 3 Colossi. We're about to have 2 Disruptors, which is pretty good. We have a decent Stalker army, Archons, Immortals, a very anti-ground Protoss army, which can do well for itself. Storm is still not even halfway done, so I'm a little bit concerned about that. I'm mainly concerned with the lack of Disruptors. We only have 2 Disruptors. That is not a lot to work with, and with Vipers getting into the mix, Disruptors are not long for this world. As the Colossi are revealed. Looking at the units tab, we only have a single Viper, so we actually don't have that many Abducts. Boy, here we go. The first Viper is moving on forward. We are hunting for those Disruptors. Oh, get the Colossus. 2 of them even. Not the best follow-up though from Dark. Also a hot pickup from Gerald as well. Despite the double yoink, not a single Colossi goes down. Oof. As we move on forward, we had a decent Fungal as well. Fungal with Biles. Gerald now with a max out army is pushing on forward. Another Fungal will connect with those Colossi. Nova goes off on the Roach Ravager and the Infestor, and it looks like Gerald is going to be able to break on through. Oof. With his Stalker army, he does power on through. He's only left with 1 Disruptor and 1 Colossi though, so there's not that much on the ground. The boys are being pulled. Dark needs to buy time for his Broodlords. He's being quite greedy, taking up all the way into Broodlords, but they will be a solid win condition for him. There is no good answer to Broodlords right now in this Protoss army. Here we go. We do see Dark. He wants these high-tech units. He goes for the yoink on the Colossi. Yoinks the Prism as well. But there is no anti-air. But the Broodlords have arrived. And again, with the arrival of these Broodlords, ooh, we do see Gerald blinking on forward. He wants to try to shut them down. And it looks like he's going to be able to get every single Broodlord, but the Banelings, they finished up. They're going to be able to force this back, but only 1 Broodlord survives. Expensive trade for Dark. He's not looking to slow down. He rolls on in. There's not much here to kill. He gets the mineral line, but it was 3 probes. Oh. But the base will go down. The final Broodlord falls, and it looks like Gerald has too much momentum going his way. Dark was just a little bit too greedy trying to tech up into Broodlords when he did. Lost every single one, and now Gerald has momentum. Gerald is pushing himself, forcing himself through the center of the map. There's not much left to defend. We have the Ling Ravager coming in from behind. Good surround on the Colossi. Oof. Boys are being pulled. It looks like Dark is barely gonna hold on. I'm impressed with his defense. I'm impressed with how he was able to hold on here against an insane army. But Gerald is not stopping. Gerald is not stopping, and oh, that's a kill, not a cancel on the hatchery. Dark can't afford this. He's down to 64 workers. He doesn't have an efficient army. He doesn't have any broodlords, doesn't have any lurkers. He's stuck on Lingbane Roach Ravager. Yeah, we even have some DT harass here as well. There's no detection. Overseer is on the way. This hatchery is going to be going down as well. Dark stuck on 4 bases against soon to be a 5 base Protoss. And Gerald is pulling this off. Now, can Dark come back from this? Does he have Neural? No. Okay. Well, he does have Infestors on the way. They will be able to Fungal at least. He can be pretty efficient with a Roach Ravager Infestor army. Oh, it's going to be tough though, especially against Colossi. I do believe that if Gerald moves on to creep, then Dark can take a good fight. There we go. We do have a power bomb as well. 3 Vipers are finally out. So Dark is now going to be heavily reliant on spellcasters. It's all about the Vipers. It's all about the Infestors. And here we go. There are only 2 Colossi with this army. They're looking very vulnerable. 2 Abducts. And there we go. 1 or 2 Abducts already, and both Colossi will go down. Even a Blinding Cloud as well, just to help things out. But we do have Storms, and the army is being zoned away. The Infestors! They need to get into the mix. They need to get involved, but it looks like there's too many Stalkers. 1 Fungal connects. GG gets called. And Gerald ties it up 1-1. GG. Ugh. Very well played there by Gerald. Dark maybe misreading the situation a little bit, thinking that he was safer than he really was. Part of me believes that Dark thought that maybe Gerald was doing the same thing as he did in game 1, and he thought that maybe Gerald was going to be more defensive and passive and wait until he got Skytoss out, wait until he had carriers, wait until he had like a mothership. I mean, there was a fleet beacon on the way, so I think Dark thought he had more time than he did, but alas, he kind of triggered a counterattack that he really was not ready for. That's the danger of neo-humanity. If you ever take a bad fight, and if you remember when Dark initially pushed out to deny the 5th base, that's where he kind of forced a reaction out of his opponent. It doesn't take that long. Doesn't take that long to move from one half of the map to the other, and Dark was desperately trying to get into those Broodlords. If you remember, he lost so much of his army while waiting for the Broodlords, and by the time they came out, there wasn't enough on the ground to support them, and we saw them sniped one after the other. Oh boy, GG, well played. And with that, we're getting into game number 3, the ace match. Oh boy. And that is already a really good result here from Gerald to take a game here off of Dark. Can he do it again? Can he cause the upset and eliminate the last Zerg player in the tournament? I didn't notice it before, but yeah, Dark, he is the one and only Zerg player left here in the entirety of ESL Open Cup Americas. Here we go, spawning in the top right hand corner of Royal Blood. We have the South Korean Zerg player representing Dragon Kaizi Gaming. It is Dark. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, fighting back in this series, tying it up 1-1, it's the Polish Protoss. He is blue, representing Sidestorm Gaming. It is Gerald. GG. Gerald snowballing very quickly out of control with his initial push. And yeah, Dark just getting caught with his pants down a little bit. Getting caught with them down. Just trying to buy time for the Broodlords. When they came out, there just wasn't a lot to support them. There wasn't much else on the ground. By the time there was, the Broodlords, they all died. Aye. And we'll see how Royal Blood unfolds. Now, what's important about what happened on Neo Humanity is that is very, very unique to Neo Humanity. I would say maybe Dragon Scales as well. Not as much, but like again, Neo Humanity, because it's so confined, because it's so condensed, because it's such a small map, it can lead to one bad fight leading into a loss pretty quickly. That's the danger of Neo Humanity. That's also why it's exciting to watch. Like again, these mistakes can be capitalized upon so quickly on Neo Humanity, and yeah, you know, it's one of the unique aspects of the map overall. So with that with that in mind, it means that here on Royal Blood, we're gonna have to go for something a little bit different instead. Or we're gonna be seeing a different kind of dynamic, I should say, out of these two players. And we'll see what Gerald will go for. So far, he's been pretty tech heavy these past two games. If you remember, game one, he was being hyper defensive and rushing into Skytoss. Game two, he was hyper defensive, other than his Archon harass, of course. He was harassing with Archons, but he was hyper defensive and working towards this really heavy robo anti-ground army with Colossi, Disruptors, Archons, Immortals. And because he wasn't just racing towards Skytoss, it does mean that he had a more powerful army early on when he did eventually push out. But again, kind of similar like outlooks on both games here from Gerald. We'll see what he goes for here in game number 3. We have seen on Royal Blood before Protoss players go for like 2 gate openers into a third base off of Blink and go like double Robo Colossus production. We haven't seen double Robo yet from Gerald. It could be possible, but it is a little bit more standard. Like, it is a little bit more meta, and I'm sure Dark is far more rehearsed against double Robo builds, so I don't know if that's going to be the best option here. So we'll see what Gerald has in store for us. As Dark is going to be sitting out at a couple of lanes, we have Gerald just sitting up for his third base. I guess that's the other thing that we should bear in mind, is that this time Gerald is going for a Stargate opener. Last game he did go for a DT opener. The DTs didn't do any damage. The Archons did. The Archons, they got a couple of Overlords, they got 4 drones, they kept Dark back at home. Oh! Ooh, meanwhile the Oracle's on a bit of an A move, a little bit of miscontrol from Gerald. He gets 1 drone, then attacks the Spore. Does take a couple of hits. Thankfully, he's able to keep it alive. He's going to be able to rotate back around as Dark is done. Oh my god. Dark is going for, what was that, a 4-minute 10 lair? A very fast lair, which is going to be scouted here by these Oracles. A very important scout. As... is this going to be a Nidus all-in? I'm really curious to see what Dark goes for. He does throw down a Roach Warren. He does have 3 gases in total. This could be a Nidus Roach all-in. This could just be for fast Roach speed. It could even be for Roaches and Dropper-Lords. For those who don't know, you do require a lair to make Dropper-Lords, but there's no Overlord speed. There's no Pneumatized Carapace, so I'm going to be writing that off as something a little bit more unlikely to be ahead of us. As the lair is now done, Roach Warren is about to finish up, and there it is. There's a Nidus. Typically, when Dark gets an early lair, it is for a Nidus. Now, Dark, he's fond of Ling Nidus all-ins, but because he took 3 gases and he's taking more, it's going to be a Roach Queen Nidus all-in instead. Oh boy. Now, Gerald has a piece of the puzzle. He saw the fast lair, and we saw the fast lair. Like, we quickly pieced together that it would be a Nidus, just because of the proclivities and of Dark. Like, he is very fond of his Nidus all-ins in ZvP. So I'm sure Gerald is aware of that. We can see he's being very active with his Oracles. He's walling off here at his third base. He's making sure he has vision even in his main as well, so he is hyper aware of what Dark is capable of, and he does spot the Nidus. There we go. The first Nidus is going to be going down at the same time. Lings are trying to power through the front door of Gerald. The first Nidus will not finish. I love this. The Lings are going to be distracting this army, and would you have another Nidus behind this? Oh, but Dark, he has to be careful not to pull the army towards it. There we go. Nidus has finished up. The Queens are hitting the front lines as well. Not too much creep, but there we go. It is now being spread. And Gerald is getting ready for this. He does have more of these cannons on the way. Oh. Looks like the Cyber Core is going to be going down. And with that, no more Stalkers, no more Adepts to defend. The cannons and shield batteries full as well. They just weren't ready for this. Gerald was not ready for this at his natural. Despite seeing the Nidus ahead of time, he was not taking this seriously enough. A little bit of miscontrol there by Dark. I don't know if you noticed, but he actually focused down his own Nidus with the Ravagers. So, a little bit rough there. As we have another Nidus on the way. Dark pushing on forward. It looks like he has broken through into the natural. And again, even though Gerald saw the Nidus coming ahead of time, he just wasn't ready at his natural base. He was ready at his third. He had cannons and shield batteries. But his natural was so much more exposed. And Dark has done it. After breaking the natural, the main base it's just a formality at this point. Temple Archive is going to be going down. We're going for mutas. We did take all 6 gases. I was very curious. Why are we taking all 6 gases? Do we really need this for the all-in? Apparently it's for the follow-up. We do have mutas on the way because why the hell not? From here, Dark is going to be rotating over towards potentially the third base or just up into the main once again. Dark has options, as he has essentially cut the army in half. Cut the defenses in half. Biles are going to be landing here with the cannons. And now there's only a single shield battery left at the third base. The mutas, they arrive. Oof. And everything is going to be going down. Gerald trying to hold on as best he can here with what little he has. But there's only so much a Void Ray and a handful of Stalkers can do. There it is. GG gets called, and Dark will take the series 2-1. GG, well played. Gerald did really well for himself, forcing the ace match here. Definitely, I hope he's proud overall. I know that here in the ace match, it may have been a little bit frustrating just because Gerald did shut down the first Nidus, so he probably felt safe after he was able to delay it. But the reality is that Dark was committed. He a dead Nidus would not stop him, would not slow him down, and yeah, Gerald just needed to have the foresight to prepare for it a little bit more diligently with his stack defense. If he did have shield batteries ready at his natural, that would have been the world of difference. It kind of depends though, just because they were within range of Biles at the front line as well, so it's possible that the shield batteries would have gone down anyway. It's hard to tell. Definitely hard to tell. Regardless, GG, well played. And Dark will advance on into the semifinals.